Lagoon Sleep is a sponsor of this episode. I don't need to hound you about the importance of getting good sleep every night, but why not get great sleep when you have the chance? We know that sleep is one of the most powerful yet underutilized training components. Lagoon supports your sleep with the most comfortable and customized pillow for you. Go to lagoonsleep.com/believe to take a quick quiz, and they will recommend a pillow based on your needs. I am the otter as I sleep hot and mostly wanted some cushy support for my neck and head. While sleep comes pretty easily for me, I still notice a difference during the occasions I don't have my Lagoon pillow. I believe in it so much that my whole family now uses Lagoon pillows, and we bought those ourselves. If you want one too, head to lagoonsleep.com/believe, take the quick quiz, and use code BELIEVE for 15% off your order. Hey, this is Taylor with Believe in the Run. I wanted to let you know that the podcasts are getting their own channel. As we continue to grow, please search and follow BITR Networks on YouTube and Instagram to find all of the podcast-related content. If you're looking for the shoe and gear reviews, you can find those on BelieveInTheRun.com or search Believe in the Run on YouTube and Instagram. Thank you for your support. Here's the show.
Give a good stretch, got my laces tied. My trusty podcast by my side. If you want to talk fun, it's the place to be. Yeah, it's the drop, D-R-O-P. Believe in the run.
Hey, this is Taylor with Believe in the Run.
And Reese with Believe in the Run.
And Alex with Believe in the Run.
And you're listening to the Dirt Division segment of The Drop, which we're currently in the heyday of trail running for the year. And we just finished Hard Rock. And that space between Western States and Hard Rock, if you're just a trail running sports lover, once you finish that, it's kind of like, wah. Do you guys feel that too? I have a feeling I know Reese's answer to that. No.
I don't follow any of these things, so I don't know what's going on. I'm literally not a fan. I don't know what's going on, so no. I don't miss either of them because I literally missed them.
Did you have your horse camp?
Bliss.
Were you busy with?
I did have my horse camp, and that was super fun.
How many friends did you have go to your horse camp?
We can only do 4.
It was
so that's what I was doing instead of Hard Rock, is just riding horses. But I'll maybe Alex has a very different answer than me. I'm very not in the scene.
Well, I went to Hard Rock. I went down there. We weren't running or anything. I was 2 on the wait list, and I'm very glad I didn't get in because I'm not ready to obviously do something like that after Cocodona. And I need to train a lot for that.
Were you ready though? Did you have the van? Well, the van, I think you guys should have a van, but you don't have a van.
Yeah, we don't have a van.
But you should.
I brought some stuff just because in the back of my mind, I'm I don't know, if I can jump in and help someone or crew or pace someone, something like that, if something comes up. But I just went down there. We had some board meetings and some things like that ahead of the race and just some things I wanted to be there for. And I went out for a couple runs and was quickly reminded, need a couple more weeks to recover and have some weird little ankle shin things going on. Mm-hmm. So, it was good to get out and be back there, but no running for us. And Jared wasn't on the wait list or anything, so he just went out and trained.
If you were going to have a shoe, though, what shoe were you ready with?
I ran in the Norda 055 while I was out there, and also the Alta Mesa 500. My trusty go-to.
5-star fives.
Yeah.
Yes. All the fives.
Great shoes. But if you were going to run it, if you were pulled off the wait list, are those the shoes you would have used for that course?
Probably, yeah. I would probably use both of those. Maybe it's because I've been running in the Alta Mesa so much, but I found the 5.5 to be a little less stable on the really technical steep descents, and especially out there. So switched into that one for a longer run. But I would, if I were to run that this year, given what's available, I think I'd have both of those. because there's some long runnable descents in the clockwise direction. So I think that 055 would be really fun for that. They aren't super steep or tricky.
Yeah, looking at all the comments on our review of the Norda 055, I don't know if you guys have looked at them, but man, I'm more and more convinced that if something's good and it's expensive, there's going to be a lot of hotly contested
Are people mad or
comments.
what?
They're mad because it's a good shoe, but it costs a lot. Like, yeah, that's the overwhelming comments we received on our review of that. But isn't that silly? Like, all of us would vouch that's like easily one of the best shoes of the year. And for a high stack trail shoe that can actually go on more technical stuff and long distance, there's really not many that can compare to it at all.
I think just the fact that it's more durable, I'm like, okay, the shoe that I love the most, I think retails for $220.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, I can get 300 miles in them before they're thrashed.
What shoe is that?
The North Face Sky 2, Vective Sky 2. But like 300 miles is kind of where I can really get them at. And then, but I'm like, okay, but if I spend $440 on 2 pairs of shoes versus I think for the Norda, I'm like, just simple arithmetic, I could probably get double the amount on that on a 325. So like long-term cost, not the upfront sticker shock, I'm like, is better. I'd rather buy it once. Anything once. I just don't like buying things. So I'm like, buy it once and forget about it.
Yeah. And it's a durable shoe that you said, is going to last. So
yeah. And another thing is like all of our reviewers were saying like on value, it was A. The rest of the scores were all S, like top of its class. But we did give value an A, and people are still upset with that. Of like, there's the Vibram for me on the forwardmost lugs was starting to not like crazily at all or less than average. It was just a noticeable amount because I put more miles in that shoe than a lot of others. But man, I do have to say, I'm still standing by the fact that that is a phenomenal shoe, regardless of price and considering the price. Like, yeah. But there's another shoe that we've all run in. We're going to talk about today, the North Face Offtrail Ultra. And some people have been asking, is this like the poor man's replacement for the Norda 055?
Oh.
And after running in it, I'm going to say no right away. It doesn't compare in the ways that people probably want it to, or even that I wanted it to, honestly. But I'd be interested to hear your thoughts before I just spew all mine out.
Reese, we got a little sneak peek into your experience. I think you should start.
Yeah, hold that up again.
Well,
into the inside of your heel.
Yeah, my experience. So I have always been a 7.5 in North Face, and I still think that's true. I was sent a 7.5, and I was like, wow, this is really roomy, and it's not like crazy long, but I was just like, I can't get it to lock down. Which to me, I took it on some pretty technical trails, and I was like, this isn't fitting the way a North Face normally fits me. So I asked for a 7, and they sent me that, and it fits fine. Like it's snug and it fits.
And you're someone who really likes the snug fit.
Yeah.
Like a performance fit.
I'm willing to lose toenails if needed.
Yeah.
And like I wasn't losing toenails on this.
Yeah. And I felt the same, that it was roomier for a shoe that's meant for technical terrain.
Yep. Yes.
Because and that's where the thing is. But even though it was roomier for me, and I feel like I have a little bit of a, kind of like a circus freak body for my feet, and it probably makes me a good reviewer because one of my right foot is broader in the forefoot. Okay. It just takes up more room in the shoe, not just width-wise, but overall volume too. And so I have like 2 different feet basically. And so on both of my feet, it felt a little roomier on the foot that I had less volume on. Noticeable volume across the board. But for me, it didn't move around as much as I expected it to. personally. But I think you guys, based on your heel, Reese.
Well, so this was the problem. And this is going to go into maybe just who I am as a person. So I like very thin socks. I don't want padding, and I use cycling
Yes,
socks.
you're
I was like, you wear
specialized
biking
socks.
socks, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. But the worst part about this, so when I worked at Specialized, which was at this point 10 years ago, my friend, she was like one of the product developers of their socks. So I have like the amount of sock I have at my house is insane, but yet I refuse to like open new socks until the other ones are just completely
I'm
destroyed.
like that too.
And I was like, I have no reason. Like I will have more than my entire lifetime needs. And so
We're
I
not our
grabbed
sock
these, like,
reviewer.
no, I grabbed these socks that she gave me in 2016, and the back is like clearly
It's, like,
thinning.
threadbare.
There's like a hole in a toe.
Okay.
And so the heel, the little bumper, I guess, like cut through the literal one thread that was there and sliced, like my Achilles zone is just sliced open. It was to the point where like I had to keep taking my sock and like reworking it. Finally, I just took it off, turned it inside out, and moved the hole to the other side of the because it was so painful. But again, like I don't know. I need to let this heal because it's actually pretty bad. Because I did run like 2.5 hours on it. I need to let it heal and then see if it will happen without it. But the other side got like a tiny blister, but nothing crazy.
Please tell me
But
you
the
got
other
rid
one,
of
like,
the socks. Did you get rid of the socks? Did we retire them?
well,
or are you just gonna
I
use them for
threw them
something
into
else?
my laundry, and I was like, "Oh shoot, I should throw those out." And I was like, "Why didn't I just throw them out? Like, what
You're
is
gonna
my
wear them in
problem?"
your recovery slides, aren't you? You're just gonna
I
wear them around the
know.
house.
That's yeah. I'm like,
Well-
I am being such a cheap ass for no reason.
Throw yourself.
Come on. That's like a page out of my book here. Just get rid of them.
I know, but I like the shoe.
Oh yeah, overall, like, especially when I came to terms with like, this is for a specific terrain, specific purpose,
Yeah.
and like it's a mountain. Like if you are a mountaineer or often high in the alpine in mountainous terrain, that's this like this shoe is for you. Like if you're a skier in the winter, like, and that's you do however many days skiing, something that's going to be a little more secure, not as like bouncy as exciting as a lot of other trail runners these days. It's a lot more stable, like
Mhm.
Yeah,
it's a predictable shoe once you get into it. And there's a lot of I'm gonna have to save a lot for the review. I have a lot of thoughts after getting it into that type of terrain, and then versus like going on a gravel road to the trail, which a lot of shoes can do these days. But this isn't that type of shoe. This is a exactly as it says, off trail shoe that you can spend many hours in. But to your heel comment, I didn't get irritation near that bad. I just like noticed it on uphill and downhill. They did talk about the booty having like an off-centered stitch, but they didn't do that for the heel itself. And I know that'd be a very hard thing to do, but they also didn't run the Norta 055 had padding all the way around the heel cup this time. The Offtrail Ultra doesn't. And I think that's a mistake. Like, I think they should have run that padding all the way around, would have added a little bit better security and comfort, I think.
yeah.
Did you have any
Agreed.
issues, Alex?
Yeah, I think I agree with the heel collar comments, and I also think if there was like just a little more structure, like or some kind of tongue, there's like nothing. It's just like thin fabric. I feel like that could also help with the lockdown.
There's a
'cause-
slight amount of padding. Slight.
Yeah, I'm having to like lace too tight across
Yeah.
where I have issues, and I don't love that. And going down steep
Agreed.
stuff, then it like my foot's going
Yeah.
forward, and I also hate. I need a loop. I want a loop on the back when there's a
Yeah.
heel collar like that. It's like
Yeah.
I hate that. I'm just like trying to stretch it to put my foot in.
Well, and while this
Noisy.
like booty is comfortable, it is really flimsy. I wish that was.
Super flimsy.
I think is that what you were talking about with the structure too? Like just
well, I
wanting a little more
I want a
structure.
loop for there, and I want a little more structure in the tongue to like help with the lockdown.
And I get what they were doing with the overall fit too. Like it's not the same exact last as the Alta Mesa, which the Alta Mesa compared to the Vective is a much broader fit
Yeah.
on purpose. This one's based mostly off of the Alta Mesa. But I don't know. I feel like in this case, even for an ultra distance shoe, like I would have probably erred more toward the Vective side, the racy side, like next to skin fit. But at the same time, I had, plenty of room, but my foot didn't actually move around as much as I thought it would. And I took it on some like purposefully really steep and technical stuff and tried going at a fast pace. And the more I ran it, the more I felt confident, I guess.
I mean, once I got the 7, I felt a lot better. The 7.5 is like, I'm telling you, I have like foot dysmorphia. I really thought I had a fat foot until this year when I'm like, I think it's really low volume and I have like a really narrow heel, which is kind of blowing my mind because on like a visual from this top down view that I can only see, I'm like fat and flat. And then
because you're seeing your ankle in front of your foot.
And I'm just like, what is wrong with me? But in the 7, I was totally fine. I will say, if someone's watching this, Taylor, can you hold up the and then turn it so we can see the toe, the outsole toe?
Outsole toe. There we go.
Yes. So I understand that toe part where it's much more like a climbing shoe. So it doesn't have specific lugs there, but it's supposed to be like
alpine shoe.
Yeah, maybe you're doing like a Via Ferrata kind of situation.
Yeah.
That is not fun for running up like any loose, uphill. I ran into problems getting traction there. And like on the Front Range of Colorado, everything's like kitty litter and dry and dusty. And so I ran into problems with that, but but on like a downhill, I was like, oh, I'm
when these other lugs can like activate, it was like,
But I'm like, just cut like a few little notches in that toe and give me some traction. But I was just like sliding down.
And that's where like the whole philosophy of this shoe is like, we're all runners, right? Like we do get into the alpine, do some of that kind of stuff. But for the most part, we're not mountaineers or anything like that. And so this is basically taking a mountaineer's perspective on a running shoe. And so like when I thought of it as like, this is made for surface area and putting on to hard packed stuff, not necessarily the gravel and stuff. But I want it to be more versatile because I think the package itself, like make a Vective version of this. That's a little more on the runny side rather than the mountaineer side. I think you get a lot of runners, but this is a specific tool. And I think that's going to be something that's going to be, it's going to be awesome for some runners, but the general runner isn't going to be as happy with this shoe, especially if you're running a lot of other terrain.
Yeah, I think as long as people know going into it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then when you put it in its box, it actually is a phenomenal shoe.
Yeah.
But in general, trail running sense, like I could see a lot of people actually doing hard rock in this if you're not wanting the more bouncy cushioned foam, because I found this Dreambound super resilient, but wasn't giving all the characters of a modern trail running shoe.
Yeah, just don't wear radical airflow socks like Reese wore.
Yeah, don't use like the equivalent of 1 ply.
Like I was just threadbare, and you're like, one more run.
I like, and
when
it
you're
didn't
using
even
toilet
occur to
paper.
me. George is just like, he'll look at my shirts that I have, and like they are now Moth Tech by way of just being from like 2002. And I'm like, I don't need any new shirts. He's like, you clearly do.
But you probably, you say that, and then you get to a point where it's like, there's like, none of my socks are working right now. And if he were to throw them out, like my wife complains about her closet selection, whether it's running or not, all the time. But if I was just going to go take the things that she complained about and got rid of them, she'd be like, no, well, where are all these? Like, why would you do such a thing? They were so much use.
I have like 30 pairs of shorts, like 40 shirts that are like daily cotton shirts. And I think I actually wear like 5 of each, maybe,
Exactly.
which is just like makes
Year
me feel
round.
like a consumer awful person, and I am. It's
Well,
a deep issue.
For a reviewer's perspective, though, when you find those things that actually stay around, like I probably go through my closet at least once a month just because I don't like all the stuff. If it has a
Yeah.
place, like for all these shoes, they have a place, but that's all the space I'm keeping for shoes.
Yeah.
But when I go through my closet, I'm just like, it's a testament to what things are actually good because we get a lot of different stuff of like whatever has lasted for a while is really legitimate. So
Yeah.
Reese, I have a question for you. Do you keep all your shoes like Taylor does?
No.
I don't either.
I try to keep as many as I can if I know that like I want to reference it in the future. Like if the sizing is always weird for me, or if I know like Arc'teryx is going to release a new shoe, right? Like I'm like, if there's a Cylan 3, I know I'm going to want to re-reference the earlier one, but then I try to just give them away as much as I can. But the only problem is all of my friends happen to be like 5'8", and they all have size 9 to 10 foot. And so I'm just like, are there any children?
yeah.
You need like really nice shoes. What about, do you keep yours?
No, I can't. It's too much. It's too many shoes.
Yeah. I freak out. I get like a little, it's like, I don't even know if claustrophobic's the right word.
Oh,
it's
it might
similar
be.
feeling
No,
though.
it's
It's
totally.
just like there's too much. It's too much stuff to think about and have.
But I try to tell my friends, I'm like, look, don't mistake me giving you things for like intrinsic generosity. I'm like, this is an anxiety thing for me. I'm not actually quite this generous. This is, you are helping me more than I'm helping you. And I just don't want to come across as like overly benevolent.
Well, no, people are always just like, oh, are you sure I can pay? It's like, well, no, like,
no.
I've worn these and tested them and like enjoy them.
Yeah.
But then you have the issue too of like, my dad will always take shoes, but he's not a runner. He's going to go do some roofing in it. So I'm like, I'm not giving you this beautiful pair of performance shoes for roofing. And so I have like my friend group that I load.
For roofing.
Yeah, I mean, he would wear anything or golfing. Just like, yeah. But then he's also the same as you, Reese. He's going to wear it until it's done.
Yeah.
And then still keep it in a box out in the garage. Like
maybe the next time we record, I want to show you my all-time used shoes that I've had for probably, I don't know, 4-5 years now. And I've used them so much. They were a shoe I reviewed. And then I'm like, you're my everyday airport shoe, my shoe I'm always wearing.
Mm-hmm.
It's to the point where the tread is now the midsole. and like,
you are frugal.
Yeah. And it doesn't even make sense. Like my barn shoes are the Divide.
The Brooks Divide.
The Brooks Divide. I'm like, those were like $90.
Which is like the only reason you would wear those shoes, honestly.
Yeah. But George is like, you realize you have like 100 shoes in the basement. Like you can just get a different pair. I'm like, but these still work. They're still fine.
We should totally share like our oldest shoe that we have. And like I use it for like out in the lawn and doing random stuff. And then I'll randomly just wear it on a run or walking sage.
Yeah. Next week, let's bring our oldest shoes, our true ride or die.
Yeah. Okay. I love that. I've also modified them. I've like cut the tongue and cut the heel. It's just like
love it.
Stitch on some flowers.
Shoe. Okay, this will be fun.
Okay. Ride or die shoe next week. Stay tuned, folks.
Also, I have a Monday question that I wanted to ask before we go too far. It's a similar question for both of you, but different.
Okay.
So, Reese, I want to ask you, so which
activities...
activities...
dependent?
What?
Personality dependent.
I'm just curious. So, which activities, if doubled in your life, so think through things that you do, would make your life meaningfully better?
If I doubled them?
Oh. Mm-hmm.
I mean, horseback riding.
How would it make your life better?
I think just having a connection with just this like huge animal is something so it's like deeply spiritual, and it's such a good feedback loop where they can sense how you're feeling. And so it's really it feels very like grounding. And even when I took my friends out to the barn, it was really interesting because I was like showing them how to do everything. And then I was like, okay, let's go get your horses. And, I like left them and I was like helping other people. And I come back and it's like all of a sudden, like really quiet and calm. And all of them are like, we get it. We just want to be like quiet by this big animal. And I mean, on Friday, I was at the barn. I think I was there for like 6 hours. And I could have just stayed forever. I was like, oh, I just want to stay here.
And just be around them.
Sounds like you need a new job.
Yeah. I mean, I did have that as a job for a while. It's not quite as fun as a job, but there is something fun just about like being around these big animals. And I don't even have to ride. Like I can just go and brush a horse or like clean up poop or just hang out. It's such a fun community. And like, yeah, I just love it. Like last night I went out until like 8 p.m. because it was so hot and just like goofed around. And I was like, okay, like that was fun. Like I could just stay out here forever.
Well, and there's like science behind it, right? With like equine
Yeah.
therapy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
If I doubled something,
Yeah.
I think it would be, and not even doubled because I'm not doing it right now, but I like getting back to like art and more creative stuff around.
What kind of art?
So I used to do a lot of sketching and like
Okay.
drawing and things like that. And I feel like I have all my stuff. I even got it out the other day and then I got overwhelmed by it. But I feel like getting back to stuff like that, that's just a little more grounding and a little less like related to screens and electronics and things like that. Like I want to get back to like I have 5 books that I'm like a third of the way through. I need to just like read more. And I feel like getting back into some of the art stuff I used
Yeah.
to do would help me a lot.
I love that. Also, speaking of screen time, I'm pretty proud of this, but also a little nervous. I haven't logged on to Instagram for like 6 weeks, and now my app went to the
Timed out.
cloud.
Sweet.
Yeah, it went to the
Just,
cloud,
like,
and I was like,
left your phone.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, fuck. Do I have to remember a password? And I keep being like, okay, get on. Like I wanted to share about my friends riding horses, and I was like, okay, remember to do it. And I like don't. It doesn't even like cross my mind until like 8 p.m. where I'm like, oh shit, I didn't do it today.
But 8 p.m. social media like cut
dude.
off.
I can't.
Too late.
Shouldn't
Yep.
be there anyways.
But yeah, so I'm pretty proud about that. But I
That's
have to
good.
figure.
Let
I'm
it
like, oh,
expire. Yep.
yeah. I was like, well, every week I'm like, oh, I'll do it I'll get on this week, and a week goes by, and I'm like, oh my god.
Did you used to
How'd
be
that
on
happen?
a lot more and then just kind of decided like this is too much?
Yeah, and then once you realize it, that like it's like a different alternate universe, and that every time you go on, it just feels like people are yelling, and not like yelling at you, but it's just like
Yelling everything.
Oh, but sometimes.
yeah,
YouTube
it's-
is a yelling at you type scenario. Yes.
Yeah. But it's like I find it to be like I get on and I'll post something, and then that day is the last day I'm on for like another month. And so even if people like message me or comment, like I won't see it
Well, and
for
there's
another 4 weeks.
There's just something nice to know of like it's not habitual. It's like you have
Yeah.
the
You have
control over
control
it.
over it.
And
Yes.
because like sometimes, because I know it's a large part of my job, the social media part. But like when I open my phone, if like my wife's like, could you check your calendar? Like the natural tendency is to open and then my thumb goes straight to like the social media where I would
Yep.
like
Strong,
respond to
Scares me.
comments, do the
refresh.
posting. And while I don't think I'm not on it all that often besides that anymore, like I used to just post personally before the dirt division of like, yeah, I think it's actually helpful for people to have a space to go look for shoes. And like,
Right.
there wasn't a lot of trail running reviews type stuff out there or, sharing things for friends or family, that kind of stuff. And I don't do that as much anymore. But I did have the realization of like when my thumb swipes up and then boom, right there, even though I'm looking for something else,
Mhm.
it's a good thing to at least keep tabs on.
I like that I have no idea what's happening unless you are directly involved in my life.
And reaching
Like-
out to you.
And like reaching out and I have something to say, or I'm curious about something. Like I feel at one point like very disconnected, but then also incredibly focused, where I'm like, I'm focusing like just on these things because that's probably all I need to think about right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't need to worry about who's doing all of these other things, where I'm like, oh, I want to just like focus on like my 4 friends right now. And then I don't need to worry about anyone else or anything else that's happening. And not like totally like ostrich head in the ground situation. I think that's also that can be bad. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. That was total off topic. I know you have a question for
No, it's
Taylor.
important though.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a lot to be said, and we talked about this last week with recovery, but like intentionality with anything, right?
Yeah.
Of like anything that's so, and I actually really do appreciate habits too, like good habits.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot to be said about that. But even when those good habits become like, so there's some of them that are like so ingrained in your life that you don't have to think about them anymore. And like, sure, there's a little bit of risk in that, but you just want to be able to make the choices yourself.
After finishing Infinite Jest, because I read so much, like I'm telling you, it was 10 to 12 hours a week. Like
You're done now, right?
I'm done. But the habit that was created because of that book, my appetite for reading is off the chart. I started a book on a Saturday night and finished it on a Monday morning. And I was like, oh, that was easy. And I was like, oh my
After
God.
that, everything seems quick.
Yeah, I was like, oh, 300 pages. Dialogue. I'm sorry, what?
This is like you through hiking the long trail and then coming back and being like, I will do 50K this weekend. And I would like to sign up for a fast race.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, it's just so silly. But it is like, it's amazing what the human body, like the mind wants to formulate a habit. And once you've created it, it's so easy to just stick with it. I'm like, oh, every day I read before work, every morning I read after work. And I'm like, I find that to be great. Like,
That's
but my
the
new
habit
book is like a
I
little
need back is reading.
Yeah.
Also,
The
the
new
social
book
media
is a little
thing,
rough.
one more thing on that.
Yeah.
To your point, it is interesting if you go off for a while, because people, I think they're connecting with you by like liking something or like, watching something. It is interesting, like the 2 or 3 people that still reach out and are like, hey, how are you doing? What's going on in your life? And that I feel like is kind of a fun little litmus test too. Of
Yes, I agree.
who's still out there.
Yeah.
Taylor, I have a question for you. So yours is very similar, but what activities, if you halved, so took them in half, would make your life meaningfully better?
Doing dishes. These are questions that I'm like, I need to think for a week on and come back to you with but we just got our first dishwasher this weekend.
Whoa.
And
So what's happening?
And with kids and I eat a lot and all that, like a lot of our nighttime is just doing dishes. Like,
there you have it.
So
yeah.
Get your time
So
back.
I'm about to live that life and I'll report back. But
Let
on a
us
deeper
know.
level, halved. I'll have to think about that one and get back to you.
All right. Well, Taylor will respond next week.
Yeah.
We have a process.
I am the slow
learning styles.
Yep.
I should be a slow thinker. Like I wish I were, because a lot of times I'll be like, oh, here's my knee-jerk reaction. And how it's phrased in my head is so much better than what actually comes out of my mouth. And what comes out of my mouth is just like not polished and it like depends on the mood and on like how sarcastic I'm being and what I think is funny that day. And I'm like, if I just took like 30 minutes to just pump the brakes, I probably would come up with like a slightly more thought out, thoughtful answer instead of being like, bleh.
Yeah.
Well, this was supposed to be a quick real-time response. So.
Oh. Well, then dishes.
Dishes
you go.
is fine.
Dishes is perfect.
It gives you back time with your family in the evening. That's
honestly.
Wonderful.
And that whole talk about like overwhelming with stuff that's what like prevents me from like approaching it in the first place. Of like, that is such a full sink. Leaning onto the counter, even like, oh my gosh. Yeah. So dishes are the thing.
All right.
But the whole talk about intentionality too in time. How do you guys have habits around recovery? I know we're going to continue our talk about
King of
recovery.
the segue.
Yeah. I'm just segue master. But like the more I think about it, of like, I don't have a lot of recovery habits besides nutrition. Let's be honest.
Mine are mostly nutrition related too. Like even coming back from Colorado, because we stayed in Silverton, and I felt like the elevation, like all my sleep, everything kind of went to crap.
Mhm.
But it's like starting the morning with like electrolytes and protein, and just like the nutrition piece of just trying to like get that back on track. Because you guys know how it is. Like you go somewhere and you're
Mhm.
like eating out too much, or like you just don't have access to everything you usually have. I feel like right now when I come back from weekends like that, it's just like very focused on nutrition and sleep and optimizing sleep, of like making sure our room is very cold and very dark and having some white noise and all
Which
of
is
those things.
impossible this summer.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, on like a micro level, it looks different than a macro level for
For sure.
me, where I'm like, okay, day to day, there's the nutrition stuff that's obvious. There's I'll get a Normatex. I'll try to get massage if I can. I do the foam roll thing. And then there's like incorporating rest. So then we zoom out a little bit more. And then there's like, okay, make sure you're resting plenty and track. Like I like tracking my HRV, which is a good indicator of like how much stress my body's under. And that also informs like, am I resting enough? And kind of being mindful of like heart rate during training, like how am I actually feeling, and just like listening, being like, am I feeling rested? Am I feeling good? Which then you zoom out even further. And I think beyond just like physical recovery, for me, it's kind of just that mental recovery piece. And I think just paying attention to that of like, am I excited about what I'm doing? Like, am I like looking forward to this? Am I dreading this? And separating the difference between like, am I not looking forward to it because it's hard and we don't like doing hard things sometimes and I'm feeling lazy? Or is this like a bigger like burnout situation, and being mindful of that? And if like if the answer is like yes to burnout, for me it's like an easy just stop. Just
Yeah.
there's no point in pushing to do something that you're not excited about, or just like coming up with a different plan for what does this look like. Like for me right now, for like a concrete example, I have that race in Prescott, Saddles 50.
Saddles.
Yeah, and I'm like not excited to train for it. But I signed up, I've paid for it, and so then I was like, do I just lose the money, or do I just approach it in a totally different way? And what does that look like, and am I okay with that? And maybe approaching it in a different way is like do just enough so that 50 miles won't suck. But like you don't have to race it. Like don't expect some crazy finish, because like honestly it sounds like you don't really want to do intervals. So don't do them. So I think for me, like that recovery takes, and I don't know if it's just like I'm 38 and I have to think about it more now, because I'm like, I don't know if I noticed that at 25. Like 25, I was like, but maybe I was just still like riding the high of
Yeah.
like, I can do
Just
anything
running
all the
around from one thing to
time.
the next. Yeah, trips and
Yeah, you're bumbling about.
Do you think you'd
And
be
now I'm
okay
like,
with that,
yeah.
Reese, with Saddles approaching it and just like going in and being like, let's just go have fun and not be competitive or race?
I
Would you
think
enjoy that?
after canyons, yeah, probably, because I'm like, I didn't race canyons at all, and I had a fun time.
You were like blissed out, yeah.
Yeah, and so I was like, maybe it'll just be that, and
Riding
like,
in the river.
yeah, I
Just
made
floating
a
on the river.
plan. Yeah, I made a plan to spend some extra time and go visit friends in Flagstaff. So like as soon as I'm done racing, I'm just going to go up to Flagstaff and hang out, and then fly out from Prescott like 2 days later. And I was like, that would be kind of fun to just kind of like make it not the focal point. but just like, oh, this will be a cool way to see Prescott. I'll see a lot of it.
Yeah, it's a
I
cool
do have
area.
to admit, like after coming off a couple of years of pretty much forced recovery, like breaking a foot a couple years ago, and then all this stuff with training last year, of like I was kind of forced into that mentality, and it feels really good. Like all the races I've done since then are just like, let's just see what I have now. And I kind of shift the focal point of like, I've always been one to sign up for races based on like the location and getting to see trails that maybe you wouldn't normally, or just like the exploration piece. But there's always been that element of like, you are racing for that podium. But
Yeah.
even, yeah. And that does excite me to an extent still. But to your point, Reese, of like, it's really like a shift in what matters to me right now in terms of like racing specifically. Of like, intervals don't necessarily make me excited, although last week it was fun to do. But it's more like being in shape enough to go approach some of these peaks. That's my idea of training. And that's also
Yeah.
going to like fill my, the spiritual side and emotional side of recovery too, of like, that's what's actually keeping me more ready to go do anything right now, of like, I just want to go explore my own backyard and
Yeah.
do like a weekly peak. Like that's could be a form. I don't know if that falls under recovery, but it definitely is more sustainable than other
Yeah.
approaches currently. And that's,
I think,
yeah.
yeah. Like my friend Marie and I, we went out for a run. And I think like for me, I was like, this is all I want to do, where I'm like, I have just enough fitness to be able to say yes to something that's a 4-hour run. Like we got to a turnaround point and I was like, there's like this alpine lake up there. Do you want to go? And both of us were like, not really. We're like, let's do it. And it ended up being like a little over 4 hours, like 20 miles at like high elevation. And we were fine. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm not totally blown apart. I'm fine the next day. I'm not like totally a disaster right now. And even this weekend, I was like, cool, I can do some 3-hour runs and I feel great. But I'm just kind of like bumbling about. I'm like, this looks fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like a different kind of recovery.
Yep.
And it's
Sure.
like mental recovery.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was just talking to a friend about this, and she said exactly that. She's like, I just want to be in say yes shape. So it's like, she
Yeah.
wants to go out on a run, like you said, for like 3-4 hours, or do a peak or whatever it is, or hop in crew or pace someone at a race, whatever
Yeah.
it is, that
And
they're
that's,
ready to do that and feeling good.
that's my
And I feel like
favorite.
the mental part of it, like you said, of just like kind of that recovery, especially after you come off like races and stuff that you've put a lot into. It's like kind of choosing your own routes and planning these like different adventures for yourself. Like, because
Yeah.
I've feeling that now where I'm like, I don't want to be at any more races for a little bit, even though I have to
Yeah.
go. I get to go crew my friend and pace her in a little bit crazy mountain. But after that, I kind of just want to take a break from being at races and the structure and all the
Yeah.
everything, and just kind of like go out, do my own thing, explore a bunch of the stuff down by Salt Lake that I haven't done, and like maybe loop together something, just plan something and just
Yeah.
go do it, quiet. And
Yep.
yeah, those things
And
help me a lot.
that's kind of like my favorite state of training, of just like, you're basically only managing the amount in terms of like time you're running throughout the week, like just total amount of hours, or just doing what you want to do, where intensity doesn't really play as much of a role. But at the same time, like if you feel like picking up the intensity on whatever given day, sure, do it without too much thought. And I really like that type of training, because I most often always feel rested and ready for whatever I want to do. Maybe the aerobics system's not there to push it extremely hard, but it checks most of the boxes really, really well.
Do you track
That's-
HRV, Taylor?
No, I mostly have just do an assessment of how I'm feeling generally. I know my body after many years now of training. Like I just prefer to feel it, I guess.
Yeah.
Kind of the Courtney DeWalter method almost. But
So just so you know,
just,
me and Courtney.
I think the the feel it kind of vibe. That's kind of how I'm approaching. It's funny because we're talking about training, but now, or talking about recovery, but mostly training.
Yeah.
Because
which is
now
what we're recovering from.
Right.
Yeah.
And what I'm focused on now is like, do you want to go fast on the days that you quote unquote, should be going fast? And it's like, if you do, go for it. Like,
yeah.
If your body is like, just listen to some rap music and do some intervals. I'm like, girl, go, like, let the horses run, go for it. But if if a friend is like, do you want to go do an easy run in the morning? And that sounds way more fun. I'm like, I'm going to go do that. I'm going to do that one. But I think, I like kind of being a little more empathetic towards the body and the mind is a huge part of recovery for me, where I'm like, I just need to let my body know that I'm going to take care of you.
Yeah.
I'm listening. And there are those days where you like get out and you're just like, oh, I want to go. Like I want to do, I'm like feeling good. Something clicked. And then I think like I ask myself that a lot, like while I've been running, it's like, do you want to try intervals? And if the answer is yes, I'm like, definitely. But I do think rarely do I ask, like during a training, I'm like, nope, Tuesday, you're doing this.
It. Yep.
Yeah.
Like, and it's different just being able to like ask a question to yourself, where I think so much of training is just looking at what's in your training plan that day and going and doing it, where you don't feel like you have much of a choice, even though you're like, have the illusion of freedom of choice. You're like, now we're doing this.
And like, what's the whole point of recovery anyways? It's not necessarily feeling good, but you're trying to either grow or be able to sustain and do the activity you're training for. And like, that's the whole point of recovery. And so, like obviously the mental aspects, and I'm a fan, like I'm writing an article right now of like, I've always been weird and I've always kind of known it, but like I'm a huge fan of just the atypical approach, as long as you're like, not everything has to be so like 7 days, here's your 7 days. Like actually a better approach for me is like approaching it as a 10-day cycle. And most people would probably be that way too, but it doesn't look as pretty when Strava like rounds it out for you every single week, because you have these 10-day little segments. And so like we tend to be confined by what we determine our days and weeks by. And I'm typically more of a proponent of like be a little more creative, be a little more honoring to yourself, whether that's strictly physical or like we're all end up talking about this mental emotional capacity too, to continue training. And that's recovery. Like thinking outside the box that way is so important for a lot of runners, but we don't often either give ourselves the space, even for me, who's a huge proponent of it. Like, it's nice to see a chart continually grow. Like, but maybe I just need to develop my own chart and grow that way, of like a 10-day cycle rather than, I don't know. There's just being able to think about it outside the bounds of just science or just our normal confines that's where I find the
outside of
most
time
motivation.
And space. Time is a flat
we
circle.
are galactic travelers.
I think the I don't know, the training cycle is really easy to just kind of get into.
Sure.
And having the like, that 10-day whatever, it is funny where I'm like, this is all made up.
Like, all of it. Time is
do whatever you want.
In some sense, but like there's no argument that structure and routine is gonna benefit us more than flowing with the river every single day.
But I do feel like as runners, as any athlete can probably agree on this, we have this like really weird tendency to separate mind or emotional state from body. And I'm like, they go hand in hand. Yes. Like everyone's like, oh, stress is stress is stress. I'm like, no, but do you get it? Like, it's all of it. It's not just stress.
Yeah.
But I'm like, are you motivated? Are
It's
you
the
feeling
dishes.
excited?
Mhm.
And I'm like, this is
Mhm.
and I'm like, this is all a part of recovery and training. Like, you can't separate recovery from training in the same way that you can't separate the mind from the body. But it feels like we should be able to, because it's nice to isolate things. And I think that's when people start getting frustrated. They're like, well, why am I not performing well? Why is this not working? I'm like, well, how are things globally speaking?
Right.
Like,
Emotionally,
how are
what's
we
going on
doing
in
in
your life?
general? Yeah, like what
Your
else is going
relationships.
on?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that and I've experienced this even in like medicine where, doctors are like, what's going on with you? And then when you get to a doctor that's like, how's stuff in your relationship? How's your tell me about your job. And you're like, why are you asking about my job?
Right. Has nothing to do with how crappy I feel.
Yeah.
It has everything to do with it.
Yeah. And so I think like approaching everything, and like not to be, I guess, like, I don't know, I'm not trying to be preachy, and like I'm definitely not the person who knows the most, but just like this holistic of like my mind and body are one and the same, and they influence each other more than I can probably even imagine. But I think just trying to like separate the two is doing both of them probably a disservice.
Mhm.
Like the Normatex for me, I am convinced, I'm like, I don't know if they actually help my legs, but they get me relaxed for an hour or 45 minutes where there's just like this soothing ritual of self, quote unquote, I feel like it's self-care. And I'm taking like an hour out of my day just to like do something totally useless.
And sit
And like
still.
that, yeah. And like that in and of itself is, I think, restful and promotes recovery mentally and physically. Like, I don't know if the compression is doing an insane amount
Feels
of
good.
work, but I'm like, it feels good. I feel like I'm doing something for myself and I like it. And I'm counting this as recovery no matter what.
Mhm.
What are other pieces of gear too? Like Normatex are obviously wonderful, and I
Yeah.
have like the on the go version,
Oh my God, send
which
those to me.
I should use them more, but and bring them with places. I should do that. But what are some other like pieces of gear that you guys use regularly that aid in recovery? You guys talked about the R8 roller last
I still haven't,
week.
I don't have that, but I
I
want
like
it.
that thing.
That is like
It's very
one of the things
painful.
I actually use
I like it.
like daily and feels good. Pre-run, post-run. Do you want me to keep doing that for you?
It looked like you're gonna put it on your face, and I really
Yeah.
want that to be.
Yeah, my daughters have definitely done that and felt sorry for themselves after doing that.
I like
But-
those. I like my Theragun. I like the Normatex. Again, I don't know if any of it really is doing that much because I've heard like different things about like the percussive therapy versus like the foam rolling and things like that. But I like it, and I take lots of baths when I'm tired, and then I pretend that's kind of like a workout because I get really hot and tired and feel kind of like
Okay.
crap after, like I do after a run. So I'm
You-
like, well, I exercised a little bit.
Okay, I'm gonna get personal here.
Yeah,
You
I
guys
don't-
work from home.
Yeah, I do.
Do you ever take a bath and work in the bath?
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, me
Is that where
neither.
your
No
ego
way.
is from, Dylan?
Sometimes I don't have to bring my computer, but one of the things I was going to say to your initial question earlier is like, if I wrote more of my reviews, like on notebook, like I used to do everything in the notebook. When I take a bath, like I might do a workout in the morning, check emails, and then do the whole Epsom salt recovery bath in the afternoon. And then that also forces me to like, I'm not going to bring my phone or my computer in the bathtub, but I really like the feeling of like lead on paper, like writing
I
with a
love writing,
pencil
yeah.
specifically, not a pen. It's like one of the only times I actually do that. And yeah, it's like recovery in a lot of ways, but baths, man.
Mhm.
With
Do
a
either of you
journal,
cold
you can do
plunge?
work.
Or like sit in
I-
creeks even
Around-
after a hot run?
Probably weekly. And the only reason is because we have a glacial stream running through our
Yeah.
yard and it's
Okay.
really easy. It's convenience for sure and feels good.
Isn't it different? Don't women vasoconstrict after we're done working out. Always we vasoconstrict, you
Processing.
vasodilate. I think men vasodilate, and so a cold bath isn't quite as good for women. I think I could be getting those totally wrong. Someone fact check that, but I do know that there is gender differences between vasodilation and constriction. But I do think, again, it's like mental stuff, and a lot of people love the way a cold plunge feels.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, if it helps your brain, do it.
I like
I'm
it.
not like as huge of a fan, but I'll do it, but not often.
I like it if it's like Taylor said, like cold stream or something like that. I don't have a cold plunge or anything like that, but I feel like it kind of starts, I don't know, it just gives me like a little mental boost, and I start to like, in my head, I'm like, oh, I'm starting to like reduce inflammation, even though a certain amount, obviously.
And the older I get, definitely the more I inflame. Or like if diet things are slightly off, if I had a Coors Banquet yesterday, I feel bloated and more like, just more inflamed. Like, and I do feel like having some sort of cold bath every once in a while. It'll be like after hot runs or a long run or a workout. I kind of use it more specifically. But yeah, I do feel like 5 minutes in that glacial stream really, especially my ankles, brings them down a little bit.
The other thing I always do is the correct toes, because I have hammer toe and I also get really bad metatarsalgia. Tarsal pain out of nowhere that is always there. Or I always think I have a bone stress injury in my foot, but those things help a lot too.
Are those the things that like spread them out
Yeah, it's
for
just
you?
toe separators.
Do you sleep with that?
No.
Okay.
I don't sleep with any, no. Nothing touching my feet. No. Do you sleep with socks, Taylor? Do you sleep with
No way. I can't have again, personal. I can't have much for clothes on. Like even a t-shirt is just way too much. I can't sleep it. Even in my sleeping bag. Like I can't.
Sleeping bags make me crazy. I can't.
Yeah.
I feel like
I can't have any articles of clothes, pretty much.
I have to do the quilt, the sleeping bag quilts that you can completely unzip, and then I just tuck it around me and my feet are out. Like I can't do.
Yep.
That's what George has.
Yeah, it's definitely a nice one.
Jared does this thing where he has like a wool liner around his body inside his sleeping bag, and then he zips himself all the way up, and you can only see. And I'm like,
he's an actual cocoon.
Insane. Yeah.
Can mummify him, but
No.
Wow. Sleep though, as we're talking about it, do you guys use your Lagoon pillow every night? I was never a pillow. Like I even got hand-me-down pillows as a kid. Like so just like even through college, I slept on this pancake flat pillow. And then it wasn't, I mean, I guess it would have been like into my 30s until I got my first Lagoon pillow. And now I'm really particular about pillows. I really like my Lagoon pillow.
Yeah, I mean, George has one. I have one. I sleep with it every night. And then actually my best friend,
I thought you were going to say Lofinoti had one.
Like, they have a travel one.
I do have a travel one. And then, which I do bring everywhere with me. And then my friend who I was just visiting out in Portland, I recommended, because her husband was like, oh, I sleep so hot. I recommended the Lagoon for the cooling thing. And she bought that and she's like, he loves it. This is the best. Amazing.
Literally.
I've become I've always been a bit of a pillow snob though. Like I have 6
Wait, did you just say pillow?
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 Yeah. I knew I was like, I'm going to avoid saying this. But yes, pillow. It has an A in it now.
Pillow.
Yeah.
The pillow. But I have 6 pillows on my bed.
You say 6?
6. And I sleep.
Are all of them Lagoon?
No.
Thing too?
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I sleep normally with 3. I have the Lagoon under the head, and then I have 2 body pillows on either side of me, and I rotate to hug one of them.
Is George
a normal pillow that you're calling a body pillow, or is it like an actual longer
it's like
body
king
pillow?
It's a king, but all of them are king size.
So like both sides, you're just like in this like bunker.
I have to be able to put a pillow like between. I have to be able to like put it between my knees.
No wonder why Trans Rockies was so terrible for you.
Yeah, you don't understand.
Pillow fortress.
Yeah, I have to have like a fortress around me, and
Does George
it becomes
do this too?
No, definitely
You're just
not.
like
Like
over
he-
there taking up your.
all the room. And if George and I are not sleeping in the same bed, I am in the middle of a king size bed,
I do love
loving
being
it.
in the middle of a king size bed.
And he's like, no, I just sleep on one side when you're gone. I'm like, hell no.
Mm.
Directly in the center.
Yeah, or I'll go
Absolutely.
diagonal.
George, I
even.
feel
I'm
it.
like, this is nice.
Yeah, I'm like, I might be like 5'2", but I need a king size bed for myself.
Are Loaf
Only.
and Odie in bed with you too?
No.
Oh, I thought they
Every
slept
Sunday though, every Sunday night we have dog dad night.
Oh, you told
And
me about this.
yeah,
That's
the
right.
dogs and George sleep in our guest room. And because Loaf snores so loud that I can't sleep with them. And so they
You
go
don't
and
want to
have
use
a
your Bose
sleepover.
headphones at home?
Yeah. So they sleep in the basement guest
It's
room
every Sunday.
every Sunday night. And the dogs know it. They like run to the basement. It's so
That's
cute.
So cute. He can
George
just
is like,
sleep
I
through
don't
the
sleep
snoring.
at all.
It
Yeah,
doesn't
he's like,
bother
I don't sleep at all.
No.
It's like, but they're so cute. It doesn't matter.
Do you
don't
sleep with
with your
Sage?
dog, do you, Taylor?
No, she can be on the floor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sage,
Sage wasn't supposed to sleep in the bed. She was like in her kennel and she used to love it. But then there were a couple trips back to Minnesota where she was like barking and being really loud at Airbnbs or hotels and stuff. So we're just like, let her. And then we got home and then she's like, well, this is what we do now. So she would just bark
Yeah.
all night until she came in. And she's like spreads herself out. Like when sometimes it's like 40-pound dog, but when she spreads out, she's like 6 feet long and she goes across the bed and shoves us
Yeah.
apart. And
I would say that if we didn't have two children who regularly came into our bed, we would probably allow it, but there's just no space. What nutrition stuff? We talked about nutrition. What nutrition stuff do you guys use for recovery?
just normal food.
No.
Like, I'm talking about
That's
like
what I
rice
err on. Yeah.
and normally cooked eggs with lots of cheese.
And
Not
cooked
weird.
Spam.
We're not even getting into the topic
Dude,
of eggs.
that
And
Spam
then
was not a good recovery.
Spam under the
Dude.
can.
Yeah.
that was
That's gross.
I am like, okay, so for anyone that's made it this far, so a while back, I said something about like we had like a nice wine, but we paired it with like Spam and mac and cheese. And like, I have a guilty pleasure of liking Spam, but you cook it,
But you
sear
warmed
it.
it up. Yes.
Yeah, you pan sear that. And Taylor yesterday just sends a picture. He's like, post workout meal or whatever, and it was like a picture of Coors and then
Coors Banquet.
a tin of Spam, and I was like, wait,
That's
You,
probably
like,
why I'm
warmed
so
that up.
inflamed today.
yeah.
that's probably why
I was
you're
like, you
feeling
warmed
puffy.
that up though. You did not warm it up straight.
No. Well, here's the
Mad
story
dog.
though of like, it is a little, even though it's like the lowest quality food you could ever get, it is a little bit of a
Don't say
Minnesota
that.
pride. And so our daughters have seen it, and my mother-in-law she's corny in a lot of the best ways. You want her to plan your birthday party if you have like a theme, which I don't even want a birthday party. Like she's that kind
No,
of
I'm turning
person.
40
And we
soon.
have like a Spam. It looks like a Spam can. Obviously nobody's going to steal a Spam can, but it's like a money jar too.
Mhm.
And so like our daughters have seen Spam around. We talk about it as a Minnesota thing, and our daughters love Minnesota because that's where I'm from and my family's from. But she's always wanted to try it. It's probably been at least 15 years since I've had Spam. So the other day at the grocery store, we were getting tuna, and she's like, "Can I just get Spam?" And I gave in finally. And so she had some for lunch that day. So it's just on the counter, and I got back from the run. I'm like, I'm always into salty. Why not? And it reminded me of, those Vienna sausages. Have you ever had those? Those canned
Yeah.
sausages? Yeah, cold Spam is exactly a Vienna sausage. Just
Yeah.
Don't.
and I ate the rest of it, and I'm like, pretty quickly did not feel that great.
Yeah.
And so it's not, but I would still have it. Like, yeah, I would fry it. That would be the best way. Fry
Yeah,
it,
cook
put on
it.
some crackers, maybe a little, like a pickle as well. You could
Take them
gourmet
to the
that
Spam
stuff.
Museum. Have they been there?
No, like what reason do you go down to Austin, Minnesota?
Spam museum.
I guess Spam Museum. Yeah. Like, yeah. So that's the whole story about Spam. But I think that, I mean, if you need salts, a little bit of protein and fat, all the building blocks of recovery there. But then I also had a Element bubbly after that, and that was
After your Coors Banquet and your cold spam.
yep. And I routinely use Element as a replenish, and that works for
Yeah.
me.
I like Element.
And then I did
also
follow
like,
it by the only protein
Magnus.
the what?
The Magna. It has like magnesium and
Oh,
have you guys tried that?
no.
I got it from the feed a while ago. I don't know. It has magnesium, which I feel like I don't know if it helps me or not, but allegedly.
Yeah. Actually, I've definitely used magnesium, like from Pillar, a magnesium supplement.
Mm.
And then do you guys use protein at all?
Normal food for the most part, unless
Yeah.
I'm eating like a scratch recovery thing. But normal food is great.
Yeah.
It's great. It's bioavailable for the most part. Veggies are a little harder, but yeah, I don't know. I'd rather just eat real food than science food once I'm done running.
In
Even if I'm getting
general,
close,
that's my approach.
yeah.
But
Even
like
if I'm getting
post-workout.
close to the end of a run or a ride, and I know I'm probably going to bonk, but I have like whatever, a mile left. I'm just like, I don't want to eat any more fake food. I'll just bonk. I'll just kind of slow down.
45 minutes is my time.
Yeah, I'm like, I can't eat it anymore. I just want like a, I don't know, croissant egg sandwich.
I'll do protein shake. I do the only what you need protein. It's like Owen, whatever. We always have it on.
Okay.
Because sometimes I'm just like, it takes me a long time to want to eat, and then I'm like waiting too long. I'll go like 2 hours without
Exactly.
eating after, which isn't great. But I'll do creatine and collagen and that too.
Oh yeah, collagen. And I always like the Ascent protein is the one that I've found most success with as a runner, at least. Like I'm not doing lifting or anything like that typically, but that one's been good for me and it tastes good. But those are the things.
Okay. Well, your girl has to go.
We should all go.
We should all go.
We
Yes.
should all go.
We're tired.
My dog is snoring very loudly. It's getting hot. I got to walk him before it gets too hot out. We can't go.
That's a real thing.
Yeah, our offices are getting really hot too.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's
All
good
right.
chatting with you.
Yeah. We'll see you
Okay.
see you next week.
Okay. Goodbye.
Bye. Hey, Dirt Division listeners, NAC is the sponsor of this week's podcast. They are a Canadian-based company that is globally known for their nutrition products and eco-friendly approach. They have a range of goods like bars, purees, gels, broths, drink mixes, and even a recovery mix that I wasn't aware of. So I gotta get me some of that, because I have some Big Mountain Adventures and UTMB MCC coming up this summer. As a trail runner, I've been using their Boost line for workouts and long runs. The gels and drink mixes are full of quickly digestible carbs. I used the Boost drink mix while we were in the Grand Canyon, and it really felt like a one-stop nutrition shop with 60 grams of carbs per serving, 500 milligrams of sodium, and solid subtle flavors. Their focus on a specific glucose to fructose ratio and use of natural ingredients are truly gut-friendly and performance-enhancing. So, if you're interested in trying any of their products for yourself, go to knack.com and use the code BITR15 at checkout for 15% off. Links in the bio. Hey, this is Taylor with Believe in the Run, and today I get to sit down with a guest that many of you will already know. He's going to be a familiar face. I'm sitting down with Tommie Runz, and he has been doing some really intriguing things lately, at least from a trail runner's perspective. And, you know, we're interested to dive in to hear all about his experience, diving into trail, multi-day experiences, much farther than marathon days. You know, he's kind of been doing it all over the last couple of years. And again, we're just looking forward to diving into that side of it with him. Tommie, first of all, welcome to the show.
Yo, how's it going?
It's going good.
I'm here. I feel like I've made it, you know?
Oh, made it in what sense? Because I mean, there's there's a lot of ways to make it these days, but like from my eyes, like being a fan of the sport, I consume all the running media too, of like the ways in which I don't know if you want to call it like your influence, your channel. It's always kind of a weird thing to talk about, like your personal business almost. Like you've grown in so many ways over the last, handful of years that I've been following you. And it's really cool I don't know if you would call it an evolution of sorts, but it's like, it's life. It's constantly growing and changing and whatnot. But like as a fan, like it's just really cool to see all that you've experienced just in the last handful of years. But we also know that your story goes a lot further back than that. Before we get too far into your most recent endeavors, could you give like a high level background for people who might not know who Tommie Runz is?
All right. Thanks for that introduction. Tommie Runz here. So I am I guess I'm a black guy from the Detroit area, and I started running in 2018 after about a year of sobriety, starting in January 2017 until now, or through till now, or however you want to say it.
Continuing.
Till now seemed kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Until right now. This is where it is. So I started running a year into that journey, and then since then I've I got into trail oddly a little bit, like from a viewing standpoint, like in 2018-19, early in my running journey.
Okay.
So I was like watching Western States and stuff like that. So like I watched like the Billy Yang doc and all that stuff. Like, wow, this thing is crazy. And then I started going after Boston. And then so that journey of going after Boston, met Thomas from Believe It or Run on a couple like brand trips. So I worked with brands since like 2021. Gone on a bunch of different trips. I've run 17 marathons over this period of time so far, and then was just really mainly road focused and working with brands and from like a creative standpoint and making content like influencer type stuff. Created a couple events, created a couple podcasts, and just have been just working with brands trying to be a little different and push things forward in like a little slightly different direction. And then 2025 ran from the Speed Project from LA to Las Vegas. That's 300. I did the OG route, which is 340 miles solo. That took 6 days. And then that like just spilled me into like the next thing you know, I'm on Dylan Bowman's podcast.
Yeah.
The Free Trail Pod.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was just like, talking about my life and stuff like that. He's like, I want you to come to TrailCon. So next thing you know, like it was just like that, and then, hey, would you do a 100-miler? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And he's like, you should do Javelina with Hoka. I'm like, I already know Hoka, so ran Javelina. And then they offered me a spot for their like very few, like coming from the road, working with like brands like New Balance and all that. Like they have so many bibs to like these major marathons. It's not necessarily, it's special, but it's not like. It's not like that. It's not like Hoka. I think had like maybe 3 or 4 outreach bibs, what they call them, like with people that are not. They didn't necessarily get a golden ticket or win a lottery, but they're doing something in their communities or for the running community that Hoka deems as like wants you to use your voice and your presence here.
For sure.
And they gave me one of those bibs, and that's how I got into Western.
Which is a cool thing because not many people know that. They're a little more familiar with Western states and how the lottery works, golden tickets work, but not a lot of people have been aware of the sponsorship bibs. And pretty much any sponsor within Western states has that option, but obviously Hoka being the title sponsor has a few more to play with. And I know Jim Walmsley's story this year, he was able to get in on a bib that, but it's really cool. Just knowing Hoka and working with Hoka, they don't just hand that out to anybody for any reason. Like they really, like you said, they really want to be sure that you are impactful in your community. You have a voice that's unique. And so that was really, really cool for And
then like the one part that was like, I think that was like kind of implied, like they didn't say like, hey, are you impactful? Like you can tell who they picked is what they were going for and who they picked in the past. But their biggest thing with me and with the people this year and any other year is just like, we want to make sure who we're talking to understands, like, we want you to be ready to toe the line and finish and have a good day. Whatever that time looked like, that doesn't matter, but we're not, it's also not just like, here, good luck. It's like, we want to pick, do you feel like they want to pick people that they know for sure can do both? And I thought that was like kind of unique too. It's like, they're not just checking a box, but they're like also like, hey, whatever you need for us to, training wise, if you need some advice or whatever, we got Corinne Malcolm here. We got, all these different like options and resources. So that was really cool. Like, they really poured into everybody who needed it for sure.
Yeah. And that's an incredible like piece of this whole puzzle that people don't usually get to hear from the brand side of things, that they really do want to support you. And they're not just after your audience and say, hey, go do this, show up here to do that, just to get to your audience. They really wanted to help you achieve this major thing. And, having done marathons so often of like, you can't even cheat a marathon, let alone cheating 100 miles or like the infamous Western States course is one of those things that you really do need to put in the time and know that you're mentally, emotionally ready for something like that. And that is cool. Like, thanks for bringing that up about Hoka even being like, they wanted to know you're going to be serious about it if you took on that endeavor for sure.
Right.
And okay, so once you did Javelina prior to the Speed Project, and was that your
no? So Speed Project
was first.
March 2025. Javelina was October 2025.
Okay, wow. So, man, going from marathons to multi-day things, like that's one thing. Like, what were some of your learnings, just like training for that and going through that experience?
Well, I mean, the experience was like this random, like just like happening of events every day, and you're just like trying to just figure out how to make it work. And it does open up, like, obviously it opens up your like mind to like other things, because you just ran 340 miles in 6 days. But it was like the day one was like 64 miles, and that was double the amount I've ever done in a day at that time, and that was day one. So I'm like, all right, well, we got at least 4 or 5 more days of this, So like that just showed me that like just another level of like mental toughness and like fortitude and physical something, that could stronger than maybe I thought I was in many different ways. And then, but what I took from that the most, like going forward, really is like the training for that was just so much different than a marathon training block. Marathon training blocks you can still run a lot of miles. There's a lot of marathoners that run more miles than I did for that training block, probably, weekly. But at the same time, it's just such a different thing. It's like, okay, be out, you're outside for 4 hours today, or for 5 hours today, or on the treadmill in some cases, because I was training in winter.
Oh,
like gosh. It was like super cold. So it'd be like I did a couple 3.5 hour, 4 hour treadmill runs where it's like, but I enjoyed like not necessarily obsessing over like marathon pace over and over and like doubting myself because one day on a random week I couldn't hit the pace, So it was more about like finding out who you are out there and just stay moving. So like after the Speed Project, I was gonna jump into a training block for a marathon, and then like started having all this stuff happen, and then like got this invite to run Javelina, and I'm like, yeah, I'll do it 100%, because I just liked that not slower pace, but just a different mindset on training. So I'm I want to do that again.
Yeah, there's a difference, and that's where like as a coach, having that mindset shift is extremely important, not just for the longer distances, but as you go into different terrain too, because naturally pace is going to be the variable that changes the most. And so was that hard for you to kind of switch that, or was it refreshing? Because I know that kind of happens both ways.
It was kind of refreshing for me. Like, so like even before Western, like my coach was saying something on the voice note. She's like, yeah, and remember, don't worry about, your pace. So some of these ones you're going to have, 15, 16, 17 minute or more, like, pace or whatever.
Yeah.
And she said it just before Western, and I'm like, yeah, I know, like, we're good. Like, I totally embraced that TSP made me embrace that, like, because there's not from at the level I'm not running the whole day. You know, there's a lot of walking and a lot like more walking than running typically. So going into like Javelina or even even Big Alta for the 100K that I did in prep for Western, it's like I'm okay with. I'm not looking at my watch and like in that climbing a hill. I'm not like, oh, got to get down to 17-minute pace. I'm just get up this hill and then figure out the other side. And that I know that I'm a runner, so that I know that when it's flat or downhill, nothing too crazy downhill, but if it's flat and a nice little like decline, I know for sure that I can. My easy pace at that point is typically faster than, it's faster than a lot of people's easy pace at that point.
Exactly. Yeah. And so, I'm just really amazed at your like quick trajectory from, going marathoning and road running can give you a lot of great experience. It can give you a lot of great fitness. But I'm someone who's, been in the trail running world now for 15 years, and I just know how much experience pays for itself. And at any point during this journey so far, like you quickly went from TSP to Javelina to Big Alta 100K, which is a very different experience from Javelina itself, both trail races, and then to Western States. And that's a lot of experience to gain in such a short amount of time. And do you feel like kind of ignorance is bliss at some point, kind of in all these experiences you've had so far?
I don't know. Like, I think maybe ignorance is bliss a little bit at like Javelina, because it was just it's a course where you can have a little less knowledge of what's going on, just get out there and try to like run 100 miles. Like the elevation gain I think is like 7,500 for the whole 100 miles.
Yeah.
So I think like I don't love embracing that ignorance is bliss type of energy, because like I kind of want to know what's going on. I want to learn from what's going on. And I think that's, I'm not saying like I have had any big success or anything like that in trail, but that's one thing that I've done in each step of this journey is like find out. You find out quickly for someone that has like the level of fitness that I've had in road, I guess when you're in a trail run, in a trail race, and you feel things that you haven't felt like ever. Yeah. It's like, it's very drastic. So it's like, okay, we're working on that right away. Like for Big Alta, one of my things that I noted from there was like the biggest takeaway was I felt like I could have run like an hour faster if I knew how to power hike and climb, the hills, and because I couldn't, like I was, not that I was trying to run them, but it's just like I was very inefficient. Like I'd be like stopped halfway up the hill with my hands on my knees, like what the hell, because those muscles aren't, you don't find those in road running,
Exactly.
And so what I did as soon as I left there, I talked to my coach, and then we implemented every double day I did. I just hiked the treadmill up as much as I could and power hiked for 4 to 5 miles, just straight nonstop. Yeah. And then every now and then I would do it with a weighted pack. So like I'm always trying to learn stuff like and take away from it immediately. Like walking was my issue, so I learned how to walk. Hiking was the issue, so I like tried to learn how to hike. And whatever's sore after, like I went to training camp for Western, and whatever's sore after that, like the most sore, I'm like immediately going to the gym to like work on that soreness. Like remember those things and then work on that, because that's gonna come up again,
Is that something that's like a character thing more than just an athlete thing within you? Like, have you kind of always been that way throughout your life?
I definitely haven't been all that way for my whole life, but I think that I think this is just like, I guess maybe it's just like a collective thing. Like after like years of alcoholism, and then like learning how to do this sober walk, and just like the way that the program and of like Alcoholics Anonymous kind of lays things out of how to go about issues and problems, and like reconcile yourself, as you go through. And then also a lot of the things I've learned just in training for marathons and running a bunch of them in close, in short periods of time. I think this part of how I'm going about like the trail part is basically just of the knowledge of all the stuff that I've learned along the way. And it's just like, if I did it backwards and I was starting road running now, I think that I probably would be like meticulous like that. Oh, I need to learn how to run faster on flat surfaces. You know what I mean? I don't know. But I think that's just like a cumulative thing over years.
For sure.
I mean, I'm 40. I'm 41. I'm an old man, bro. I gotta figure out how to be smart every now and then.
For sure. Yeah, every now and then it helps out, but then you chose to do Western States, and some would say that's a smart decision. Some perhaps not.
Maybe not smart.
Yeah, exactly. I don't. As much as I love trail running and being a part of the sport, being at these events, like I don't want to miss Western States ever. Like as long as I'm like this is my job, I want to be there. But I'm still not bought into running it myself.
No.
So what? Yeah, I mean there's a lot of things about it, man. But so like for you, like what were you intrigued by it initially, and then you had the opportunity? Did you seek out this opportunity? Like what got you to that start line and through the finish line?
I think it's because when I first started running in like 2018 and around like late 2018, early 2019, I had a running buddy that I kind of picked up from my son's Cub Scouts thing. She was an ultra runner, so she ran like 50 milers, 100Ks, 100-mile every now and then, something like that. And so like she would be telling me about, oh, there's this race this weekend, or oh, there's this thing. Have you heard of Western States? You know. And then I was like watching like the Found on 94 or 49 or whatever it was documentary from Walmsley. I'm like, that dude's fast, you know. And then the next year, whenever like this came up again, so it had to have been 2019, I guess. Yeah, 2019. Is that right? Yeah. 2019. March is like the year I think that maybe he didn't finish. Something like that, or whatever. Yeah, I was like tracking.
3 big
he
swings.
said he was going to break the record again.
For sure.
Yeah, I think maybe that was the third swing. Was the 2019, and I think he did break the record by a lot. And I think I was like tracking him then, so I knew about Western States like before I even like decided like, oh, Boston's going to be my goal, you know. So to have like all these years pass, and I went road running and always knew about Western States. Like saw Billy Yang's doc way back then, you know. Getting to like doing that 340, and then Dylan was like, hey, would you ever do a 100-miler? And I'm like, yeah, for sure. Like I just did 340. I could do that, you know? And then he's like off camera. He's like, you know, if you were to do like Javelina, because that's what you'd need to do. It's like the last race even potentially to be even considered for Western next year. Because he's like, I think it would be amazing if someone like you know, got out there and ran Western and like, and brought your story and brought, everything you have to it. But you'd have to run Javelina, and maybe you should talk to Hoka, you know? And I'm like, yeah, I'll talk to him. So I talked to Hoka. I already knew them from, road stuff. And they were like down for the Javelina thing. And so I ran Javelina with intentions of getting like a ticket to enter the lottery.
Yeah.
Hopefully that was going to be to do it. But also with like hopes that like I would have represented Hoka well and presented like the content well enough and my story well enough to have them go like, yeah, we really want him to represent us another time. So that was done with intention. And then I also ran it well, or tried to run it well and train hard for it, because I needed them to know that whoever else they gave the bib to, like, that's fine. But when you pick me, hopefully you know that I'm like going for the silver buckle. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And that's how it happened. So when they asked me to do it, I was super honored, and because I knew what the race is, but then I also just like happy and like, that they saw what I did for the last race and what I've done for all these years.
So then, I mean, jumping ahead a little bit, does that make you intrigued to run UTMB as well? Like,
no, man, I don't think so. I don't know. I say no, but I say no. But if they were like, honestly, like if Hoka's listening, which they're probably not. Well, they are. It's your podcast.
Perhaps.
Yeah. If this is my podcast, they weren't listening. They're not listening. But no, like if they're listening, like I would run CCC. I would be terrified because I was out there last year and I saw that's a different thing. That course in that mountain in that area is just so beautiful, but it's also so intimidating. You know,
I
but if they
mean-
were like, yo, we want you to run CCC, I would start training today.
Yeah. Would you do it this year?
Yeah.
Yeah, double back.
I mean, I think that's like two. That's crazy. But I would do it though. I mean, I probably wouldn't try to like, you know, top 100 or nothing like that or whatever. I would just like go to have some fun and make it happen. But I would definitely like take the opportunity. I mean, honestly, bro, like we don't know what we're gonna get offered in this life, and we don't know how long we have left and all that stuff. We really don't. You know, I mean, my dad passed. I'm 41. My dad passed when he was 39. You know, and it was like sudden. So it's like we really have no idea like what's going on out here. Like, and if you're, my goal, like I made this hoodie and I was gonna sell it, but I decided not to. But it's called. It just had "Stay Ready" on the outside of the hoodie on the front, and that's like legit. Like that's all we can do is like just handle this what we have right now, do the best we can in all areas of our life to be like ready for potentially like an opportunity to be like to say yes. You know, like TSP was wild for me to say yes to the speed project, but at the same time, like I know how to run, I know how to train, so it's like if I have enough time, I can do this. You know. And then Javelina is like, sure, I got enough time. Like I'm ready to train. So I might not have been ready to run 100 that day, but I was definitely ready to start training for it. So if they offered me something crazy like that and said, hey, we want you to represent us again, like Hoka's such a great brand and they've treated me so super well, and along with so many other people. You know, like it's not just me. It's like they have a track record of treating people well.
Well, that's the thing.
I'd be honored. Yeah.
Yeah, like once you get the opportunity and you get to be part of some of these. And I'm speaking more for like kind of the trail space itself of like, there's just so many great people. And I hope this has been the case for you too. And I kind of wanted to talk about like the accessibility of it for someone. Like if you look around, there's a lot more people who look like me than look like you.
Really?
For trail running. Yeah. Surprise, huh? And so like, has that been something that's like, what's been your experience? I don't want to say anything for you or fill your words. I just know my experience of like, I've always been, it's one of the main reasons why I continued to be in this sport is because of the community of people within trail running, specifically, you know, running in the past in general, but I keep coming back to trail running circles specifically because of the community there. And how have you experienced the trail running community? Because it could be different.
Well, I think that it's like two things, because two things can be pretty true to me. I think that like the trail running community is super so far has been very inviting, very like open, very helpful, and very open to like sharing resources. Quick to see like what's even with, you know, outside of like choosing to work with me on things, and like Dylan always jumping in to say things or help with stuff or whatever. You know, from even like Jamil being like, yo, whatever you need, stuff like that. Like it's and it's just so tight knit and close. Like one of the things that I took away from Western that was really cool was like, we're like coming up to the escarpment, like within the first mile and a half, 2 miles, you see like Rachel Intrican on the right, like cheering people and giving high fives. And then like Sally McRae on the left. And then like somebody else up top. Like, and it's like, you don't see that ever anywhere. Like if a pro isn't racing that weekend, they're not there. You know, they're not cheering. They're not none of that stuff. So it's just a really cool community. And I think it's very inviting once you are welcoming once you're there for the most part. I'm sure that there's some other places that maybe outside of where I've been to that may not be that way. But from as a whole, it's really cool. But then on the other side of things, like obviously when it comes to like the representation part of it, or just like the diversity of it, you know, is just super lacking, you know, especially in a place like Western, because Western is so difficult to get in. You have to do so much to be even considered, even to get in the lottery. You got people that's been in the lottery for 10, 12 years that have run multiple qualifying races every year. And when it comes to like a lot of the majority of minorities aren't in trail heavy enough to like to want to be in that cycle or be in that cycle long enough to have it start showing itself like there, you know?
And even Western states, like just to be upfront with everybody, like that's one of the more, when you think of just the competitors who are racing, it's one of the more diverse fields within trail running itself. And so that's saying something too. And there's still not a lot of diversity within that field. And partly, it's exactly
like
what you're saying,
it's
the
like,
opportunity.
It's like diverse. It's like diverse from a regional standpoint.
Yep.
There's people from all over the world there. So there's a bunch of people from different nations involved in that moment, because wherever in all those nations, typically trail running is a thing, But then if we're talking about like American trail running, or even just a worldwide trail running, just Black folks worldwide aren't there, not enough to like show that amount of representation. And even like TrailCon, I really appreciate it, as I was invited this year and last year just to be on panels. And this year, like, it just didn't seem like as intentional, whether it was, from a TrailCon standpoint. And I've had conversations with them, and they're like all for making, they want their organization or their conference to represent not just what trail is, but what trail should be and what it could look like and should look like. So hopefully, like, the next year, and even next year will be even better. But then even from like a brand standpoint, like I kind of like, that's how I look at things. Like, obviously the race can only do, the organization itself, hosting the thing can only do so much, I would think. But there's just so many brands that have a hand in like who shows up to these things and why, and I just feel like some of these places, I hate to always just be like, it's not the brand's fault, but
sure,
brands also have the responsibility to be like, okay, like, we have all these different connections of all these people. Let's make sure that that we're sending what we want trail or road running or pickleball or whatever to look like. Like, let's do this intentionally, not like handouts, but it's like, you have to make a vote for like what you want things to look like, and if you have the power to make that happen, you really should.
Yeah. And even things like down to like inner city demographics of like even people who have never even heard of the sport, like you want them to be involved as well. And there are some things happening, but by and large, like, you're right, from a brand perspective I'm hoping there's bigger waves about to be coming within that space, because we're even seeing it within, I mean, Rachel Entrekin, you mentioned her, like her winning Cocodona 250 outright is just the result of women having more opportunity in recent years. And those waves are, seismically getting larger. And how can we do that for all people within the world, right? Of like offering that opportunity. So it's just, I just was curious about your perspective on that. And maybe this would be a great time to plug your shirt that you've been wearing.
Okay.
I'd love that.
Yeah. So, so after Big Alta, I did a post, and it was like a picture that I thought was really cool. And over the post, like on the picture, I put "Black skin looks good on trail." And then a lot of Black folks and other people were like, "It does. It's look, and they just kept going, and they were like hashtagging it when they would be on the trail, or somebody would be like, "Hey, Tommie, am I doing this right?" That type of thing. And then, so I'm like, you know what, I'm making a shirt, and hopefully the shirt, it'll be like a loud enough statement or movement that maybe like we could do something off the back of that and have some fun, or push for more actual like movement and traction in that direction. And it's been great. Like, people are buying the shirt and wearing it proudly and going on a trail. And if somebody buys the shirt and they're like, number one, Black or brown and not a trail runner, and then they go find a trail just because, like, that's kind of fun and
that's so
dope.
cool.
But then there's people that are like, yo, like, somebody asked me, I think Dylan asked me like live, he's like, yo, like, bro, I'm a white guy, like, am I allowed to wear the shirt? And I was like, bro, there's a bunch of dudes walking around here with here for the women's race shirt.
Yeah, exactly.
So yes, you can. But if it's a vibe, and hopefully it's just a vote and like a statement towards, like, we want to see not just more Black people on trail, but like, in my opinion, based on like the history of the country and the world, if black people are invited or allowed to
Yeah.
be somewhere, then everybody else is fine, you know?
Well, and I know this is true too of like you're able to encourage others who might not have
Mm,
thought of it otherwise.
yeah.
Not just
Yeah,
from like
exactly.
feeling like I don't belong, or it might just be like well, I never really thought of that. Like that could
Yeah,
be an
yeah.
avenue or a
You like
place I could go.
Yeah, you like
Yeah,
pique the interest a bit, you know, and especially if like, and I take great pride in like trying to make it look a way as well,
for
you
sure.
know, like I'm not, you know, I try to make it look as cool as possible, you
Yeah,
know, and so it's almost like not only can you picture yourself out there, you don't have to leave yourself at home to come do
exactly.
this. You know, you can bring all you and but if you know, if you like wearing this and that, you want to look sweet, there's plenty of options in trail to look sweet and look fashionable and all that. Like you don't have to look like what we think. Maybe or what trail running
Absolutely.
might have been 20 years ago, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and there is a lot of that too. Like that's really uh presented by the brand of like this is what trail running looks like, and even
Yeah.
your kind of again grassroots encouragement or activism, whatever you want to call it, of like that gets even brands piqued and intrigued. Like, hey, there's something
Hmm.
we could do here with that exact same sentiment that maybe
Yeah.
hasn't been thought of in trail running
Yeah.
because for the most part, trail running's mentality is very relaxed, and that could
Hmm.
at times just be like ignorance. Like there's ignorance. Like that's where I come down to of like I'm guilty of ignorance a lot of the time. And so I've never thought of the fashionable statement that a shirt can make on the trails. And
Yeah.
yeah, I'm always
Yeah. I
looking for
mean,
like function and
yeah,
practicality.
function.
Yeah,
I mean, but if you start looking at some of the brands now, like even the most functional stuff that like dropped this year
for sure.
has a very, very like, you know, Paris Fashion Week look to it. You
Yes.
know, like,
Yep.
you know, you got, you know, Raid dropping a shirt that like low key just looks sweet.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, that's kind of fire. Like you're getting, and like the Nike Holy shirt, you know,
Yep.
like
That's
you
a
pull up
statement.
to, I was going to say wrong, but you pull up to the right run club or, you know,
Yeah.
on the road, somebody going to have that shirt on or like the singlet or like the short sleeve shirt now. So
I
it's about like, if you can make something look cool, people want to do it, man. Like, you know,
Absolutely.
it's like Jordan, like the Michael Jordan effect on basketball,
Yep.
honestly. You know, like not only did he like go jump out the gym and do all the stuff, like he was wearing gold chains on the course and at the slam dunk on the court and then the slam dunk contest and all that. Like he made people go like, "Oh, I really want to be like that." You know,
Yeah.
like let's I can bring my like swag to the court and do my thing. Like that made a difference. Allen Iverson, you know, like he changed basketball because of how much he wanted just to be himself. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So, but
So then, okay, so then, like, when you consider lining up at Western States, let's just go to the start line. Like,
mm,
in what ways did you bring not just style, but like bring yourself to the start line? Because that matters just as much as saying yes to the bib of like when you lined up to
um,
do everything.
yeah, I feel like when it comes to like my racing, like I mean, obviously I try my best to like just look like I didn't get dressed in a dark closet. But like, you know, I went simple and functional and and got out there. But I think what I bring most like to my running thing is like I do a lot of training, you know, especially like for me, you know, like I'm
Hmm.
sure that there's people that train more or whatever.
Whatever.
But like for me and at the level that I'm at, like I do as much as I possibly can. I show a lot of it. So when I start at the race, I think that people have been following my journey for months. They're seeing the build up for months. Um, and I think I do a good job of like storytelling that, even though I don't try to, but storytelling this like build up. And so when I start that on that start line, I know that I'm going to give it everything that I can, and to have like the best day possible for me on that day. And I think that I just carry at that point I start just knowing that I'm carrying like myself and whoever else is like rooting for me or cheering for me. Like I kind of carry that with me as I go. So outside of like making sure the style's straight, but I always just make sure that I'm like ready to like go and present myself well, whether I fail or not.
And when you did line up, like, are you the type of athlete who's like failure is a real possibility, or like were you just pumped to get out there and do the dang thing?
Yeah, I know failure is a possibility, but I think that like in 100 miler or something, a lot of these races, even like a marathon, you kind of got time to reconcile with like whether it's a good day or not. So when I start, like I was like, honestly, when I started, I'm like, okay, 22 hours, let's go, and let's figure out what that looks like and what that means.
Mm-hmm.
And so I start with like pretty much the middle goal, and then see where we're at from there. And if I'm having a really great day, then we'll see. If I'm having a not so great day, then let's just hold on and see how long we can stay close to that goal. But I don't think about failure like I'm not like worried about it. Like I wasn't nervous the night before. I wasn't really nervous the morning of. It's kind of like, yeah. I mean, I did a lot. 100 miles is too much to be worried about. Too far to be nervous about for real. Like I'm not like at the start. I'm not at the front trying to run 13, 14 hours. That you're running 22 hours, 24 hours, 26, whatever. You just get out there, keep moving forward. And stay hydrated, eat food.
Yeah, like just staying true to a lot of the principles you set out. Whereas like in a marathon, you can kind of, and even in 100 miles,
there's some nerves in that marathon though, bro. Because it's like the marathon. It's like you've been busting your butt, like the marathon training block. You've been 10 mile tempos and just
and you can basically lay
months.
It down from mile to mile or even half miles at some points of like the course of like, and you can check these boxes along the way to know how close you are, how close you aren't, like what do you need to do to get to that goal. Whereas like 100 miles, it's you can do that to an extent, but you have to, there's so many other things, variables within the day that you have no idea sometimes. Like I'm sure when you were 10 miles out, you were like, I still have no idea where I'm going to finish or how this is going to work out.
Yeah, you just don't know. Like you just don't know, and you just got to be okay with not knowing in a way for these 100 milers. So it's just a journey. Like it's legit like a journey from start to finish.
Could you maybe give us a few highlights from the day? Just walk us through the day. You don't have to give us the whole thing. Like, what were some of the highlights on course at Westerns? Yes.
Mile 1.
You made it 99 more.
Yeah. 99 more is crazy. So like highlights of the day was like the escarpment was just amazing. Like I'm actually going to post a video today about one of my camera guys was like right behind me. Like he was at the escarpment, and so he like jumped out onto the thing to get to the top as I was going up, and it's just like really cool video. And it's like, and I'm new to trail, so it's like I'm expecting like if I see you, you'll know me. Were you up there?
Yeah, I was up there. Yep.
Yeah, you were up there. Okay. Yeah. Oh, and Thomas. Yeah. Of course. So then, but like when I was up there, like I'm watching this video back, and it's like people saying my name like the whole time. Like the whole thing, I'm like, yo, this is crazy. I didn't even know y'all knew me. So it was cool. But that was beautiful. And then like the next highlight was literally cresting that little thing because I had never seen the other side of that mountain.
Yeah.
So I had never been up there.
Flowers. Yeah.
So I got over there. I'm like, oh wow, this is crazy. And then it just gets quiet. Going away from everybody.
And that's where I like to be. For like, I like to be at the escarpment. I like watching everybody come up. It's just one of those things you just got to do every year. You get to see everybody come up. The energy is just, building. But then I always dip down to that backside. And that's where I saw you. And actually, you probably didn't even realize I was running with you for a little bit. But yeah, you just have that quiet. It's just like an immediate change. That contrast it's so cool because it's such a unique place within trail running as a sport.
And then I think the second, another highlight for me was, I think there's a low light for me when I finally got to like Michigan Bluff, I think. Not Michigan Bluff. What's the first aid station that was like crude? It's like at mile 20.
You're going to test my course knowledge here.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
No, it's not Dusty Corners, maybe. I don't know.
Not quite, but yeah.
Well, like mile 32. Robinson Flat.
There you go.
The Robinson Flat, like I got there and I was already having like stomach issues. Like I wasn't really keeping things down. Like, I wasn't throwing them up, but I definitely was like, had a bunch of nausea, like from mile 20 to about 30. So like, there's a big climb right there. And I was just kind of like over it, got to my crew and just like needed a second to like thinking all that before I went to that next climb. So that was like a little bit of a low moment.
Well, and that's a thing
But-
for you too, of like, I was going to ask a question about like, you live in Detroit. How do you train for something like this? Because that's something people don't talk about, is like the first 30 miles are effectively at altitude, and your body does so many different weird things at altitude that you probably focused a lot on the heat, a lot on the mileage, even hiking, that kind of stuff. But the altitude is an element that many people forget about there, which could do exactly what it did to you.
So yeah, maybe that was it. So like, I mean, I did a lot of stuff. I mean, honestly, I did a lot of stuff on the treadmill that I needed. Like, I tried to find as much like vert as I could here, but it's just not really that like feasible. Went to Big Alta for that reason. Came out to the training camp for that same reason, just to get as much as I could out there. In hindsight, like I wish I could just take like 3 months to go away and live in the mountains really quick.
Next time.
Not Jim Walmsley. But like, I just tried to do as best as I could. And I think my body wise, like my legs and everything was ready for that challenge. It's just like, can it match the day? Can I just make that happen? And altitude is altitude. You just got to kind of have to deal with it.
Exactly.
But I just tried so the climbing part was cool. Like I was able to handle that pretty well. And then another highlight for me was like when I came into Forest Hill, I got to pick up my pacer. She ran with me from there all the way down to like Rucky Chucky. But like, so I got to sit down and eat a little bit. Threw that up immediately as soon as I got out. Like
what did
a mile
you eat?
away. Man, a quesadilla. And like some I just drank like a Coke. Like I didn't do too much, but I was just like finally happy that I wasn't feeling nauseous sitting down. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna eat now that I don't feel nauseous. Got out there, started shaking that shit up.
And slightly downhill, that always gets you too.
And as soon as we got out to the trail, I threw up. And then I threw up three more times between that point and like, between mile, what is that, 62? Between that and mile like 70 or 72, I threw up 3 times, like hard. Like,
have you ever experienced something like that in a race, or just in training?
No, I mean, I've in like 5Ks when I would go like all out in like the heat, then like I would I've been known to yak, you know what I'm saying? But that's like at the end of the thing, pretty much. But like this wasn't an effort based thing. This was just involuntary. Like this, whatever's in here is out. So like every time I would sip something or drink something or try to take eat like a potato or something like that, it was just, we'd step out of the aid station about, next aid station, and we'd go out like maybe 100 something yards and just like done. So like I didn't hold carbs for like 3-4 hours really.
Jeez.
Like I was just out there. And then finally like rallied after the river crossing.
Well, and that's the thing. Like you have time to kind of build it back in these 100-milers, where even a marathon, that's rough. A tough one to overcome.
I was sitting in Cal 3, like looking at my girl because she was my pacer. I'm looking at her like, no, this ain't it. I got nothing for you. She's like, you could do it. You were just running. I could run better than I could walk at that point, because like moving quicker is easier than like just walking and thinking about it. So. But she stuck with me and we figured it out. That's one time I told her on the trail, I was like, just go ahead. And she's like, go ahead where? Like, where am I going? It's like in the middle of the night
Not
in
going
the
in and
forest.
out,
Where am I going?
Yeah.
Where am I going? But that was cool. So I rallied after that climb out of there, got my next pacer earn, and we tried to push because like I can break 24 hours right now, And then like we were like mathematically we were doing it. And then I started thinking like, oh damn, there's like another climb before Pointed Rocks that is slow climb. And then there's another climb at the end before Roby Point. So I was like, oh, that's out the window. And then right then we talked about it while we were running, and we just kind of made peace with it. And he's like, bro, this is a crazy day. You fought through some stuff. And then we just had fun the rest of the day. And then we had the rest, and then it was cool because I planned to finish at 3 a.m. because I wanted 22 hours.
Yep.
But then I finished at 5:55 a.m. So I got to see 2 sunrises, which I did not plan on, which was absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
Like I came over like the No Hands Bridge. Sun was like starting to come up. It was like just kind of like just barely light. by the time I got to like that part when you kind of come around, you see the water down there, the sun was rising. It was actually beautiful. Like me and my other pacer were just like talking, laughing, talking about what we think about like brands doing this and that, and like what Hoka's presence was at TrailCon versus like Western States. And it was a vibe, bro. It was a vibe. And then we got to the finish, and I had asked people if they wanted to run with me, come out and run. So like by the time I got my crew and the rest of the precision people, and then a couple other people jumped in, and then Thomas and you jumped in, and we're just like running down the street with a bunch of people, and we rounded the track, and it was fun. And one of the best highlights of them all is Thomas telling me like, man, this is a really big deal. And then I'm like, all right, yeah, no, thanks, bro. And then, no, man, this is really big. And then he started crying.
Crying is like, an understatement. That dude was weeping. Gosh.
Yeah, I didn't expect
Love you,
it.
Thomas.
Like, so I didn't know. I didn't know what to do. I was just like, oh man, because I just didn't even know he had tears. You know what I'm saying? So like, because he, Thomas is like, has like an exterior. Yeah, but he doesn't even talk.
Yeah.
He doesn't like present like a feeler, you know what I'm saying?
No, he doesn't.
So when it started happening, I was like, oh man. At first I thought he was joking, actually. I thought he was joking because I was like, it just seemed so foreign to me. And then when I was like, oh, he's serious. And then like I gave him a hug, and I know where he's coming from, though, because me and him, like, I've in 2021, like I went to my first like brand trip, and that was with Asics at the Falmouth for Falmouth Road Race. And that was my first brand trip. I think that was like their, like, Believe in the Run's like second or third one or whatever. They really just like, that was before influencers were even like a thing. So we were just like out here. That was Kafuzi's first trip, same one. So like we kind of like started, all at the same time, sort of. Like they started before me, but we started like this public facing thing.
Yeah.
And like, so he's watched me do my thing, and he's always been supportive. He was always like, talk to me when, about stuff when he thought he needed to, or like when I needed some advice or something like that. And I was glad to have him there.
Yeah. He's very much like a proud papa for sure. Like just experiencing that. And he's right though. Like that is a big deal to be able to like, not just the day, but from 2017, like choosing sobriety to now in 2020, less than 10 years, less than a decade, you've completely transformed your life. You've gone places and done things that I'm sure you've never would have ever thought about. And then you are able to complete one of the most prestigious 100 miles races and biggest challenges that anybody could like think of. Like that is a big deal. And like now that you've stepped back from that a couple weeks of like, has anything kind of boiled up for you from that experience besides just like, I got the buckle and maybe that's just it. And that's okay. Like,
yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I've like fully processed it like all the way. This is like the second time I like kind of talked about it. So I haven't like fully like done the whole thing yet. Like the buckle's like been sitting in the same spot since I got it. So
yeah.
Like I love it. I respect it. People are like, I hope you haven't taken that buckle off yet. I'm like, it's not on a belt. It's like
I don't even have a belt to put my buckles on.
Yeah, it's just like sitting over there with it's like sitting over there with the javelina buckle,
Yeah.
But I think that I know what it looked like, and I feel like I hate to say, like, it's a really big thing, it's a crazy race, and it's like super prestigious, but I feel like it's really just like, that's like the alley-oop for like potentially like what's next,
For sure.
Like it hates to sound like Western States is a stepping stone to something, but I think that everything always is. So
the life's like, not over, right? Just because you did Western
so
States.
Like, and that's the pinnacle in some ways, but it's not mine, So it's like, what's next from that? Like, how can I make not just look cool like it might have looked, but like, how can I make that make sense in this 9 years of whatever?
Yeah.
Because like 9 years wasn't to get to run Western States, so Western States people say that I'm cool. It's like, what does all this mean, and how does Western States play into that?
Well, and that's the thing of like, I think many people who try to live a even fairly intentional life can really identify with that of like we hear it said a lot of like the process is a whole lot more important than the goal that you're trying to achieve like in the journey. It's about the journey. So then,
Yeah.
I mean, like, have you thought about what's next? Like, do you know like whether
Nah,
it's trail
I
or
mean,
not, or like, are you kind of sitting in this and just really enjoying the
well,
success?
I may do. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna do Berlin. I got invited to do that. So I'm gonna do that for sure. And I don't know if that'll be like a big like thing or
Sure.
whatever.
Yeah.
Like it might have used to be. But I don't know like what's next. Honestly, like I do have something that I'm working on that I'd like that I'll definitely announce as it comes along, and it would make this whole trail journey make a little more sense.
Sure.
If I'm able to pull it off the way that I'd like to. So definitely working on something. It's not a race though,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm definitely
Okay.
working on something.
It's good to know. And is that
Yeah.
something going to be within the next this year, or are we thinking next year?
Hopefully, no, hopefully it'll be this year. It will be this year, whether I have to pay for it myself or not.
Okay.
It's this year. So you heard it here first. Something's happening.
Something's happening. Stay tuned.
Yeah, I'll if as soon as I get like the go ahead and have dates or something like that, you'll be one of the first people to know.
Sweet. I'm excited about it. Thank you. I was going to ask about gear, real quick. Western States, closing thoughts. What were some of the best pieces of gear you used, and any tips for someone kind of might be following the similar journey as you of like maybe not just with sobriety or going into trail running, just like kind of this trajectory of an intentional life. Any tips there?
Yeah, so I think so like gear wise, so I wear all Hoka gear. I wore Bomba socks, which worked out for me. And then started off with the Hoka Speedgoat 7s from start till Forest Hill, and then I wore 2 different pair of the Rocket X Trail from Forest Hill to Green Gate, changed because they were wet, and then put on another pair of Rocket X Trails, and then finished the race in those, and those worked out perfect.
Dude, Rocket X Trail is definitely that's Hoka's best shoe right now.
Yeah.
Maybe
It's
road and
so
trail.
good.
Yeah.
Oh, road and trail. Okay.
I mean,
yeah,
I
I mean,
think so.
it's a really good shoe. Like even when you like jump over the road, it feels normal.
Yeah.
It's a really good shoe. And then for the vest, though, I'd love to point out the vest. I wore the Precision vest, and that's the one that they collab with Chris Meyer, because Chris Meyer they kind of made one for him last year. So they worked with this guy that makes them, and it's like that's not even that many of them out there, but they made this vest, and it comes with a note that Chris Meyer writes. Like there's
sweet.
I don't know how many of them out there, but he wrote all of them individually, and none of them are the same.
Yeah.
So like I got one that had they gave me one and it had like a little hole on the inside, so they like took it back because they wanted to send it back, and so they gave me another box and it has a different note in, so I have 2 notes.
Oh my gosh.
I got 2 Chris Meyer notes. But the pack was really dope, very light, easy, and I got a lot of compliments out there because it's got like that precision pattern on it. So
Yeah.
that was fire.
Yeah, it looked. It looked like it held everything securely and was really breathable, which is the hard part for a lot
breathable.
of packs like that.
Yeah, very breathable. Like you can see through it in the light.
Yeah.
So it's very thin, but it doesn't feel. It feels very well made somehow too. It's not like thin and cheap. Yeah, so I think for like people who are like doing the sobriety journey or running or whatever, I mean, I'm always gonna lead with like intention and like checking with yourself to see like what's most what makes you feel most you and makes you feel most helpful. It's just like you have to check everything against like that, like whether if it's you have opportunities to do things. I think you just have to check to see like, is this good for me? Is this something that I want to do? Is it does it feed? Like, does it inspire me? Does it inspire somebody else? And I think that those like the decisions that may not be the ones that like pop up as like most trendy to do and stuff like that. But it also, those are the ones that I just feel like lead towards like longevity. Like when you're making decisions about sobriety, like, do you go here? Do you take this offer and not that offer? I think it's, you just have to like check against yourself to see like, does this fit what I'm becoming or trying to be? Mm-hmm. And if you make a bunch of decisions that like fall in line with that, it leads to a life that just to me just seems much more like fruitful and like satisfying.
Yeah. I've got nothing more to add to that. Like that, it's just so encouraging, Tommie. And again, like from someone who's been a fan for pretty much as long as you've been putting out content, and just being able to witness in person you checking off something major, but then also you're continuing to live the life that you were beforehand. You're just really encouraging, and thanks for sharing a little bit today, and like extremely excited to see what's coming next for Tommie Runz.
All right, man. I appreciate it.
Stretch, got my laces tied. My trusty podcast by my side. If you want to tuck run, it's the place to be. Yeah, it's the drop. DROP.